So I had predicted that this movie would be an absolute killer. No, I was wrong. I was really, really wrong with my verdict. Hi guys, this is Farhad and welcome to my channel Popcorn Reviews. If you're new to this channel, then please smash that subscribe button now. And as a video ritual, remember to like and comment on the video. Liking and commenting helps fuel the YouTube algorithm. And before I get to the review, in case you're wondering why I haven't done the quarterly report of the Malayalam film industry in the previous quarter, ending September, then that is because there were only two films that really stood out. One was Loka Chapter 1 Chandra, and the other to an extent was Hridaya Purvam. But other than that, I think the quarter was pretty flat. And I had hopes towards the end of the quarter, where some of the films, would actually score, in which I had actually made a video on it, couple of which were in the previous quarter that I was excited for. But as it turns out, none of them have really done well, and I happened to watch one, when it landed on OTT. The film that we are going to be discussing is the Malayalam film Mirage, which is directed by Jeethu Joseph. Now, when it comes to a Jeethu Joseph film, the one thing that you really look forward to is a good film because your expectations are really high from Jeethu Joseph. And this is one film, Mirage is one film that I would actually like to, analyze it from a hindsight perspective. Why? Because there were too many things that were happening in the film. So from the hindsight perspective, it would give me a clearer indication about what the film actually was and whether it managed to score or not. So the first and probably one of the only positives that I can say as far as the writing is concerned is that the finale twist that is there, and I'm starting from the finale. So the finale twist that is there is actually a good one. Actually a good one. It works in isolation. Unfortunately for the film, and furiously so, it seems like the twist was written first and the entire film was reverse engineered into fitting around that twist. And that is what I got. It's almost like writing answers in an exam and then setting the question paper. It's the other way around, and that is the problem that this film actually had. It was hell bent on actually serving you twist after twist after twist every 10 minutes that actually nullified the impact of the drama. And I think that is one thing that most makers should be careful of, as to not overstuff the narrative with too many things that are going on. Keep things simple. You can even talk about Jeethu Joseph's some of the other works like Memory or the Drishyam franchise. Why do these work? Because they are pretty much straightforward, stories, not screenplays. Stories are pretty straightforward, and in that screenplay, you can then play around a bit. But if your story is going to go from here to there, then I think that is a problem which Mirage faced. Now, let's analyze it a little more. So, coming to the story and screenplay, I think Mirage had a promising premise in place, and one of the promises that was shown with respect to the premise is because of the characters that were there. So when you are introduced to the character of Ashwin, which is played by Asif Ali, he's a journalist here. He's a freelance journalist who works on his independent portal and wants to strive for facts. In fact, his portal is called Pure Facts, and he wants to actually investigate and ask the relevant questions that are there, which makes him stumble upon a case in which there's a train accident that takes place that connects him to the character of Aparna Balamurali, who plays the character of Abhirami. Now Abhirami has lost her fiance in that train attack which is there, and that triggers a moment, a series of motions that take place. There's a hard disk involved, and there are other gang members who are involved, and there are twist after twist after twist. Okay, the at least the premise had some semblance of promise, but one of the reasons why the film doesn't work is because it's overstuffed. Every 10 minutes there is a twist. And I'll tell you, they tried to create a narrative which is similar to the title of the film Mirage. So there is a hidden truth of the protagonist, Abhirami, her friend too, and there are a couple of, stakeholders in the narrative. One is the SP, one is a gangster, Rajkumar, there are many characters in the narrative. But when you actually plan to pack so many twists after another, the unpredictability of the drama is also taken away. The drama then becomes predictable because whatever is unfolding on screen, you actually tend to disconnect from it, saying that, oh, this is not the truth, there would be something more to it. So the unpredictability of the drama that is there is nullified due to the predictability of the expectations that you would have twist every 10 minutes. I think this is a very specific problem to have in this narrative, which progressively gets tiring. It gets tiring to a point in which you just feel that, what is going on. It kind of gets convoluted after convoluted. There are multiple tracks. In fact, the worst part also is that the goalpost also changes at the end. There are goalposts. The tone also goes from a thriller to something that is absolutely ridiculous in the form of a shootout. There are characters who impersonate and fail. It's like a silly subplot, put together in a narrative. The flashbacks come through some place. It's a incoherent mess actually, and towards the end you just felt, oh, if this was the purpose of the screenplay, then why was the other plot line introduced? It kind of is confused on what it wants to say. Is it a revenge drama? Is it like a pure thriller, investigative thriller? Is it just like a crime caper? It's none of the above. It's a hot mess. Unfortunately, it's a hot mess even from a writing perspective. And I think that is the biggest issue as far as Mirage is concerned. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Let's not pretend, that if I wouldn't go softer on the Malayalam film industry, particularly because of the high standards that the Malayalam film industry has put up. And so the screenplay here is pretty bad. Make no mistake about it. If I have to compare it with even some of the other lesser, products in the market in the form of Bazooka, I think this falls even further below that as far as I'm concerned. It just did not land. And because it was, the reason being that there were twist expectations after every 10 minutes, which was pretty much consistent in the lengthy narrative of almost 150 minutes. Can you imagine a thriller running for 150 minutes and twist every 10 minutes? It becomes, unfocused and hard to, to concentrate on what is going on. And that was the biggest problem as far as Mirage is concerned. Now, coming to the technical aspects, the music, the direction, the dialogues, I think the dialogues are a bit of a hit and a miss. The high moments are not, do not have the similar kind of an impact here. I feel even in cases of revelations just take place. It's almost dumped onto the viewers that are there, as opposed to organically, constructing or the characters unraveling it, so to say. Everything is just given in a heartbeat, and I think that is the problem of the dialogues also. There's a little bit of a spoon feeding which I did not like, which is unlike of Malayalam film. Films like Kishkinda Kandam also in the past, which had the same protagonist pair which were there, that actually made you analyze things a little more, as opposed to just feeding you with whatever is there, even with respect to the clues. And so the dialogues did not land for me as well. Music also, the BGM is a bit of a hit and a miss. Why? Because it drowns in the predictability of the unpredictable nature of the plot, so to say. So when there are twist after twist after twist, even the BGM, it's hard to keep a track of, as to what the emotions are in play. Should I be expecting an emotion in a certain way or in the other way? It's kind of confusing even from a BGM perspective. The cinematography is basic, okay, nothing much to shout about, but there's an emotional disconnect in the characters with respect to the frames that are in there, and I think that is the problem here. The emotional disconnect is also due to the the writing, the narrative style of twist. I'm repeating it at the cost of repeating it, twist after twist after twist. The editing style also is a bit choppy, because it jumps timelines, and I think that is one way of saying that the film is not focused enough. Director Jeethu Joseph, I think he is a master of thrillers, that I would actually call him a god of thrillers. But here it's a rare occasion that he misses the mark here. And this film also brings into perspective one thing whether there are chinks in his armor or not, because the next lineup of his is Drishyam 3, and that is a big film that comes with a sense of a baggage as well. Yes, Drishyam is a brand, it will have an opening, but will the quality be maintained? We will see. But here, sticking to this film, I think the direction is pretty flat here. It doesn't really account for the high moments, just wanting to impress the viewers with the shock value of the twists that are there, but it didn't need to be that. The best Jeethu Joseph films are, even if you have to take into account something like a Kuman, there was a slow build up, there was a world building that was there, the characters were introduced, and then you got to the point. You didn't get to the point and then reverse engineered everything. I think that is the difference in the approach here as well. It didn't work, this payoff did not work for me, as compared to some of the other films that are there. His previous film also was a kind of a comedy crime caper. I think he is in experimental mode, is he, before the Drishyam franchise kicks in again with Drishyam 3? I don't know, but the experiments did not really land, nor did Nuna Kadal work, and nor did this film also work, Mirage. It was kind of pretty flat. I mean, let's not give any consolation, it was poor, so to say. Performances, I think the performances are decent as well. They aren't exceptional. Most of the characters aren't exceptional, apart from the two that I'll be talking about later on. But they aren't too bad either. Some of the performers that missed the mark for me was Deepak Parambol and Sarvanan. I think they kind of were caricaturish characters, so to say. The written material that was there, which actually prompted the characters to behave in a certain way, which did not land for me. I think these two didn't land for me. Apart from that, I think Hakeem Shahjahan was okay, decent, but there have been better performances of his in the past. Reggie Koshi, Hannah Reggie Koshi, I think was pretty impressive. I would have to give her that. It's very sincere performance which she did. Even the character of the SP, very complete and good performance. The stars of the show, which is why the film is somewhat watchable for most people, I would say, is Aparna, Balamurali and Asif Ali. In particular, Asif Ali, I would say, who actually mouths even some of the most monotonous lines with a sense of flair, and I think that's a sign of a great actor here. Aparna Balamurali also, I think she does a good job here. Not as good as Kishkinda Kandam or some of her other works, but I think she does a good job. She holds on to the unpredictability of a character to an extent, I would say, and I think she does a good job. But the performances never really rise above the mediocrity of the writing that is there, and that is the issue with Mirage. Do I recommend Mirage? No, I do not recommend Mirage. It's one film that gets progressively tiring due to the twisted nature of the narrative style which is there, which kind of is confusing in many ways. I mean, it's a twisty hot mess is what I would like to call it. Mirage did not work for me. As I said, I was wrong with my prediction, and if I'm wrong, I will say it on this channel. There's no harm in admitting. And so that was it then. I mean, I had hopes, did not work. It's okay, it's not the end of the world. There are other films that are there, but then the industry has to be a little bit careful about bankrolling such projects, because the expectations are sky high from the Malayalam film industry, as is from the Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and now even Hindi industry. The expectations are high. I'm not going to support mediocrity, unfortunately or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it. So if you're liking this video, remember to smash that like button. You can alternately dislike the video as well by pressing onto the dislike button. Any engagement helps a small creator like me. So you also need to comment on the video. Let me know what was the theatre response. What did you make of the film? Did you like it as compared to Jeethu Joseph's other films? Any sort of discussion in the comments. Let's get there and we discuss it out. You can also share this video with your friends and family. Ask them to subscribe to the channel. Let's grow this Digi family together. My detailed review of Mirage is available on my site, Popcorn Reviews with a double S, the link of which is in the description box below. To visit that as well. Also, you can follow me in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, and Nokia. All links are in the description box. My captions will be available on social media. My detailed review and the rating will be available on my site, Popcorn Reviews with a double S. Remember, double S is a brand, and you can read the review in the language of your choice. I'll see you again soon with another video. There's a huge Malayalam film coming up, by the way, this weekend from the director of Ramyugam. We'll see that. By the way, that film did feature in my list as well, and I hope that film works, because 2 of the 5 or 6 films that I said has already been out and they haven't worked. So I hope I'm vindicated this time around, but we'll see. These things do happen. It's okay. It's just a prediction, but I have high hopes from that film. It's a Halloween release, and so we look forward to that film over the weekend. But till then, weekend is far away. Till then, let's take care of yourselves, and thank you so much for your love and support. Cheers.